What is going on, guys? So today I'm gonna be filming a video about something that is like probably the #1 talk in the Z32 community, and pretty much that I've ever heard anyone say when they buy a 300ZX. And the question is it worth it to swap my NA motor out for a twin turbo, right? So that's like the #1 thing, because people will buy NAs because they're cheap, and then they're like, dude, this is not fast enough, so now I need some power. And they realize that modifying an NA really just doesn't get you any power, honestly. I mean, maybe like a little bit, but nothing near like twin turbo power. And I literally get asked this question every single day by just so many people, and so like I feel like I just need to address it to everybody and just to kind of go through like the pros and cons and everything like that. I do have a twin turbo swapped 300ZX. Yeah, ignore my bar. I'm gonna be getting some hood shocks here soon. Yeah, because I definitely like want those. I don't know what happened. I guess the bar just isn't here anymore. I don't know. So I just have to use pipes and stuff to hold it up. But this is my twin turbo motor swap. This car was originally an NA. No, I did not swap the motor. I bought it like this. But I have had 2 NAs before this, and it's a completely different car. Like, having a twin turbo car is, I love it. I mean, I do not regret ditching the NA to go twin turbo. It's definitely been worth it, 100%. Besides the fact that this motor breaks down all the time. And I don't know if it's just mine or a common thing. I know a lot of twin turbo motors definitely have some problems. My biggest issue has been with the injectors. I'm pretty sure I'm having an injector problem right now. It's running rough, but yeah, I've replaced injectors twice so far within a few months, or no, within a year owning it. I always feel like I haven't owned it that long, but I've owned it for a while. There's someone outside my house, I don't know why. I don't know him. But yeah, so basically there's 3 different options you can go with, right? So you can either stick with your NA, buy a twin turbo car, or swap it, or buy a swapped car. And a lot of people want to know like what's the best option, right? So if you have an NA car, the good thing about that is just reliability, and that's pretty much it. Just reliability. It's just a little bit more reliable. Still not that reliable, but it is more reliable than a twin turbo motor. And it's easier to work on as well. Just a lot less stuff in the way. Now, the other option is to just buy a twin turbo that's factory twin turbo, which I have never owned one of those just because like the price tag on them is just a little too much money for me. But they also have some issues as well. They're gonna have high CAS, and I know a lot of people do not like that and always try to delete it. And I don't think it's a cheap delete. I think it's like $1,000, I'm pretty sure. Comment down below if I'm wrong. But I know that is a big thing. A lot of people just don't even want to buy a twin turbo car because of the high CAS. But on the other side, everything is gonna fit way better because it's just normal, right? So this motor, it does go in this car, but it wasn't put here by the factory. So somebody put this in, and it's never gonna be perfect. Like, I found so many flaws with this motor and how it was installed, and that's something that is common when you buy a twin turbo swapped car versus just buying one that's already twin turbo that's pretty much gonna be put in right, obviously, from factory. But if you swap it yourself, then you know, hey, I did this right and I didn't do this right. But in reality, having a swap car and having a factory car is pretty similar. Just a few different things, but it's pretty much similar, like power wise and everything like that. Now the big thing that's going to come into play is cost, because a lot of people are worried about how much it's going to cost to buy a twin turbo car or swap a twin turbo car. So typically for me, all the Z's that I've seen that have been twin turbo, like just normal Z's, now obviously not like built Z's or anything crazy, you're gonna look like 5 to 8K ish. I mean, yeah, you can probably find them cheaper, but then they're gonna have more problems, yada yada yada. But basically 5 to 8K. Now a swap Z, I really haven't seen too many Swap Zs. It's probably one of the only ones I've really seen. Or no, there was another one actually I saw. It was 2+2. But those are probably going to be a little bit cheaper, depending, because a lot of times when people swap motors in a car, they add stuff like bigger turbos, bigger injectors, whatever. They do deletes, and that's why it makes them more expensive. But typically a twin turbo 300ZX is going to cost you anywhere from like 4,000 to 5,000 to 8 to 10, which I've seen them go up to like 20. But the cost on actually swapping your Z32 NA into a twin turbo pretty much kind of depends on what you want, because you can probably swap it for, I think when I was planning on doing it, it was going to be about $5 grand to swap it. And I'm sure you can get it a little bit less, but $5 grand is a good number for a motor swap. Just with having to buy the motor and all the work. That's if you do it yourself. Yeah, if you're getting a shop to do it, it's gonna cost a lot more. It could even be as much as 10 grand to have a shop do it, because, you know, labor time on this is not easy. It's not an easy swap. These motors are really tight in there, and they're a pain. I've never had to actually pull the whole motor out, but I've pulled like the top end of the motor out, and that took, I think, 2 or 3 days. And that sucked. And I also pulled the transmission on these cars, and that wasn't fun either. It took me 3 or 4 days again to do that, but I was replacing a clutch, so yeah. And I was really new at this too when I did that, so if I can do it, anyone can do it. That's how I think about it. But yeah, I would say about $5,000 to swap the car, and probably, depending on how much you work on it, it's gonna be a while. It's not like you're gonna do it in a night, probably. I mean, if you do, that's what's up. Let me know, because that'll be dope. Come help me. No, I'm just playing, but it's gonna take some time, and a lot of stuff's gonna break, and you're gonna, you know, miss things. And that's kind of like the issue with swapping cars. Is like a lot of times people miss stuff. Like whoever swapped this motor missed a ton of things. I've had to go over it throughout the year of owning it and just fixing a lot of the stuff, and that's kind of annoying. It's really one of the worst parts about buying a twin turbo swap cars. All of the hack stuff that they do that just doesn't make any sense. Like if you come down here, the intercooler piping you can see is just like radiator hose piping. They just cut it like with scissors. So that was kind of annoying, because I was like, damn, that sucks. I haven't had any issues with it, but also this was all radiator hose piping, and they don't have like piping that drops to like from this size to this size. So they had like made some makeshift thing, and it was terrible. So I had to go buy all this stuff. And they had this vacuum line all busted up, so I had to buy a new vacuum line. Something that is cool about buying a swap car, or can be cool, is like hidden stuff that they might not have remembered that they bought. Like on this car, the dude that sold it to me didn't even talk about the fact that the intercoolers were huge. The biggest intercoolers you can have on the car are on the car. And he never even said anything about it, so I didn't even know. Also, I didn't know that he put a oil cooler in here, so that was cool to find out. Has HKS blow-off valves that he obviously didn't know about. I don't think he's the one that actually swapped the car, but he definitely didn't know a lot about this thing. And so I got it for a really good deal, and then I found out that it has like plenty of parts on here that are worth a lot of money, because I bought this car for $1,000, and just in the intercoolers, blow-off valves, and the Mishimoto radiator and the coilovers was $1,000 easy. So not even counting the fact that the motor was in the car and that it was a twin turbo. But like I said, he didn't know anything about the car, so I ended up getting a really good deal on it. So in my opinion guys, your opinion might be different, and if it is, leave a comment down below. But in my opinion, the best route to go is up to you. No, really, it really is though. Like, there's a lot, everyone has a different situation, because if you have not yet bought a car and you want a twin turbo, I would buy a twin turbo. A lot of people buy an NA and then realize after they buy the car that they want more power, and that it's just really not enough. And then in that situation, kind of annoying to, well, have to sell your car and then find a twin turbo and organize all of that. So a lot of times you just want to swap it. And in that case scenario, it's definitely probably a better idea to just swap your car, because you're already familiar with your car and you know you like it. Now if you don't like the car, then obviously you should probably sell it and go get a twin turbo. But if you like that car, and for me, I always get attached to my cars, where like I like specifically like the car. I don't know, it's weird. But so I would want to swap my car. Like I always wanted to swap my car, but I need to find this one for $1,000, and I was like, I mean, I can't pass that. I can't, like, there's no way I can not go buy this car right now. But yeah, if you already have one and you're just looking for more power, then I definitely recommend swapping the motor. But I would say be prepared to spend $5 grand if you're gonna do it yourself, or a little bit more. I know a lot of people try to do it on a budget, and I'm all for it. I mean, I'm all about, you know, being on a budget and everything. But a lot of times, if you cheap out now, you'll regret it later. And that's really one of the things that the 300ZX will definitely show you, your weak spots. So if you cheap out on the injectors, say you didn't upgrade your injectors to newer ones, they're gonna fail, just like these are failing on mine. You know, if you get crappy intake pipes, they're gonna leak, stuff like that. I mean, you really just, you know, have to, you know, spend the money. You're really just gonna wanna buy quality parts if you're gonna swap your car, because there's no point of doing all that work for it to be messed up. So that's really just a piece of advice to everybody that's planning on swapping their car or trying to figure out if they want to swap their car. You know, spend the extra money now. Do all the deletes, do all the stuff that's, you know, easy when the motor's out, so that you don't have to worry about it later. Like one of the deletes that's really common is the EGR delete, which is right in here, which is already done on this car. But definitely want to do that. Do not buy it, swap the motor, and leave the EGR in there. It's just not worth it, because you're gonna have issues with it, and it makes pulling the plenum off a pain, and it's just better off to just do the deletes and all that stuff. Yeah guys, that's just my 2 cents. I may be wrong for your situation, but that's just how I feel. So don't take it too personal if, you know, that's not how you feel about, oh, whether you should swap a car or whether you shouldn't swap a car. I mean, shit, a lot of people think that you shouldn't wide body cars, and my car is wide body, so, you know. But pretty much just do whatever you think is best. I mean, money wise, it's cheaper probably to buy a twin turbo than to swap a twin turbo into your car. But the thing is, if you swap a twin turbo motor, you can get it from Japan with like 50,000, 60,000 miles on them. So your car will be, you know, have a motor that only has 60,000 miles versus most twin turbos that have more than 60,000 miles. So you got to look at it like that. You know, you're getting a newer motor, a better motor, or a fresher motor, that's what we're gonna call it, versus, you know, a twin turbo with, like, you know, 150K on the motor, where that motor could easily blow, and then you're at the point where you have to swap your motor. So it's kind of one of those things. And you can also probably try to sell it in a motor to make some of your money back, but I don't know how much they really go for. I think it's like $300 or $400, so it's not much. But yeah, I'm definitely in love with having a twin turbo. It's definitely worth it. All the pain and suffering. Oh, it's so amazing, and it looks so much better in the engine bay too. Obviously, I love this plenum. It's like coated or whatever to make it look like really shiny. It definitely makes it look really nice. And yeah, guys, I hope you liked this video. I hope it did help you figure out what you want to do about your swap, or, you know, anything like that. I definitely think it's worth it. Either way, it's either buy it or swap it. Having a twin turbo is amazing. I love it. It's the best. NAs are nothing compared to twin turbos. I really just love this car. So yeah, guys, go hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Go subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.